Great.
They can hear you in back, Steve.
By the way,
Is the mic on?
is it on? I don't need a mic.
Can you hear me?
Yeah? Yeah. By the way, I get my gas in Compton. A lot cheaper, a little bit of gunplay. As far as resilient, you know, sometimes resilience, you cross the line and you don't know if it's productive or it just turns into stupidity. But I don't know how many of you heard, but Major League Baseball took over the Dodgers today about 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock. And there was an example of a development, and this is perfect, right? It's not capitalized right. And of course, it's a small problem to go through a divorce and spend $20 million on legal fees. But our business is, I hate the Bee Gees, what was it, Staying Alive, that was their song. But that's really, from our perspective and a small private company, that's what we've tried to do. And you know, things happen so fast. And in 2007, I think, for the most part, people were saying at the beginning of 2007, you know, so far so good, which is like the guy that jumps off a 25-story building and goes by every floor. He says, so far so good. But eventually the sidewalk's going to get you. And then things started to happen in 2008. 2009 is the worst year in my career. And then 2010, I think there was kind of a false sense of things coming back. Things now are starting to happen, starting to percolate. But what you've got to do is you've got to make adjustments in your business plan. That's what we've been able to do. We've survived really in late 2008, beginning of 2009, when the capital markets shut down and retailers went into the foxholes. Ground-up development literally stopped, and that's really, you know, we did mostly redevelopment and development, so our business stopped. So we've earned fees through commissions and project management. We have a couple of exclusive arrangements that we've formed. One is with Tanger Outlet Centers to bring them to the West Coast, and also a REIT that we're working with respect to buying properties. And we entered into a relationship, I think I mentioned this last time I was here, with an entity called Big League Dreams. And they develop sports parks, and they've been in business about 12 years, and we're taking over all their marketing and project management. It's all fee-based. I mean, you know, project management, we're going to get 4 to 5% on this is project management fee, and we're going to take over all of the marketing. And there's nothing wrong with that, because that helps keep the lights on until our business slowly but surely comes back. And it's interesting, over the last, I've told people the last few weeks, really things, at least in our opinion, really have been really different and changed from about the middle of January to now. We've actually had a lender that took back a property, functionally obsolete mall that is talking to us about bringing us back and retain us, and maybe even enter into some kind of venture arrangement. But the highest and best use of that property is not retail anymore. Where retail was the dog, retail is now the tail. And you know, I'm going to try to make my talk as short as possible, because there are 2 really great companies here that you should hear. They're doing some really interesting things with both Ed and Carter. What the highest and best use of that property is going to be medical office, senior housing, and we almost fell off the chair when the city said to us, this was Wednesday, hey, by the way, if you guys want to do multifamily, you know, just market multifamily, you can do that. You know, where 2 years ago they said, you know, don't even bring that up. So you can just see that's the municipalities in this state are in pretty dire straits right now, and they lack a lot of the tools that they have. And so those of us in the private sector have an enormous opportunity to work with these municipalities, no matter what field you're in. We've been fortunate. A couple things have happened. We had a small portfolio that was brought to us, 2 neighborhood centers and 4 convenience centers. Actually, 3 of them are located here in the Inland Empire, that was owned by an individual. Actually, he passed away in his mid-80s. He was literally running these projects out of the shoebox, and and his son inherited it, didn't want to continue. So this was brought to us by one of the retailers that is an anchor center, and basically we're taking these properties and we're going to acquire them, and the average rent is about $1.09 gross, so you can see where the potential lift would be. And that's something that you wouldn't get a call like that. Last year, definitely not 2009. There's a couple of other things that we're starting to look. Once we look at an opportunity now, where we're not just thinking as it pertains to total retail. The retailers are starting to come back. It's been, I think last year, Target opened Tom, 10 stores? 10 stores, Target. Think about that. I don't know, 3 years ago it was maybe 125, 150, 10 stores. You've got a lot of things going on in the supermarket industry, which is really interesting. Some of the ethnic markets are doing really well, both Hispanic and Asian. If you've not been in a Northgate, you owe it to yourself to go in. If you've not been in an H Mart, you owe it to yourself to go in to see what these folks are doing. And it's interesting. And it's really interesting to look at the demographics and to see how this will work. So we have a project, we're doing one of the largest mixed-use projects in Southern California in the South Bay in the city of Carson. 2 years ago, 3 years ago, the intent was to build 900,000 square feet of retail. We've done that down now to about 600,000 feet, which we have commitments for. But the balance of the property, and this is just the market telling you what it is. This happened recently. Is got a lot of it's going to be healthcare, and we didn't even consider that. And so we're changing our site plan. We're changing the way we look at things. And as far as the municipalities are concerned, obviously sales tax revenue is important, but property tax income, creation of jobs is very, very important. Now, as development starts to come back, we got exposed to an opportunity 2 weeks ago. A friend of ours called us, and a good friend of his has control of the property right on the freeway, and he's had a lot of the big boxes have been talking to him. He's not a developer, and asked our friend, what do you think we should do? So basically, and this is something I think you're going to see more and more of, because otherwise the economics aren't going to work in certain situations where you can actually joint venture with the landowner. And there's 2 or 3 things that keeps a joint venture from working. But one is a lot of debt. And if somebody has owned the property, hasn't owned the property very long, and has a lot of debt, then that's not going to work. This has been in their family for a number of years. There's no debt or a very small amount of debt. And basically what you would do is form a single purpose entity. The property is delivered to that entity, and then you develop it as highest and best use. And it's best of both with respect to the retailer and the property owners. The question in new opportunities now comes is, where's the capital going to come from? I mean, you got a better chance to be struck by lightning than working with a lot of banks now with respect to ground up development. So one of the things that I've been pursuing for the last couple of years, and I've been getting glazed looks up until about 4 or 5 months ago, and I think I touched on it the last time we had this conference, is EB5. How many of you know what EB5 is? And if you don't, that's amazing, because how'd you find out? Okay. Because a year ago, 2 years ago, you'd ask, and you just wouldn't, nobody would know that. Now, it's interesting, the people that were on that panel, that were the cities and counties, all knew what it was, because a lot of them heard what happened in the city of Victorville. Which I will go into the specifics, but basically the EB5 program is, and if any of you read the business section of the Los Angeles Times yesterday about the hotel that's going to be built next to Staples Center, the first thing you're probably doing when you're reading that is, who is going to finance this? And when you turn to the second page, about the 3rd paragraph, there it is. It's EB5. And it's being done by a company called American Life. 18 years ago, this guy, who's the principal of this company, was eking out a living as an immigration attorney. He now has a portfolio close to $1 billion, and he's supplying the capital. Development entity, Danes and Williams in Portland, are going to build it. EB5 money, which is very inexpensive money. Let's just put it that way. And it's government sponsored, and I won't go into all the specifics. You can look it up and just go into their website. But you're going to start to see that is going to be a source of capital that has not been here. And it's a matter of educating the people you work with of why this will work. And when the Ratners went to, they ran a parallel course with their project in Brooklyn. They needed $250 million, and they ran a parallel course with traditional financing and EB-5. And they went to mainland China, and they raised $250 million. And I have a friend of mine that he just became, you have to become what's called a regional center. And I said, where's your first project? And he said, I'm doing a hotel in the Paris Valley. I said, a hotel in the Paris Valley? Well, as it turns out, it's going to be next to a Big League Dreams. This is debt, and what he's paying his investors is 1% per year. The goal for the investors is to get their green card. That's it. That's the #1 requirement. You cannot guarantee return of or on capital. So you're going to start to see this. And this is what's exciting about our industry. And most of the people in our industry are resilient, and you come up with ways to keep going and variations of the theme. And so anyway, like I said, I'm going to make mine brief, and I'll answer any questions. I think retail. This is going to be the ICSE convention that's coming up here in about a month. That's in Las Vegas. We have an annual conference. That's our trade association. It's going to really be an interesting thermometer, especially as it pertains to the retailers, what they've been doing and what they're going to do now. A lot of the existing buildings that have been leased have absorbed. So what's going to be the plan going ahead? And so it complicates your business plan a little bit, but it also makes it exciting. I think I was telling Barbara and a couple of people the other day that I went to Long Beach Poly in Long Beach, and I went to a reunion, and I sat across from what had to be the biggest degenerate in our class, Louis House. And Louis has done really well, and he's in the ice business. And you're supposed to be able to say what your business plan is in one paragraph on one page. Here's his. #1, take water and freeze it to ice. #2, sell ice. Okay, our business plan and what we do is a little bit more complicated, but what makes it exciting is that's going to be more opportunities for those of us that survive and just hang in there and be able to take